The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
No, that's so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now your hosts, Nico De Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday, folks. It's Nico and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle.
Hey there, everybody.
Hey, how's it going? Have a good week?
I did have a great week.
Yeah, me too.
We're having our beautiful weather now again.
Oh, yeah. It's a fact. It's 79 degrees in downtown Clearwater,
How
folks.
can you get better than that?
It is, and the nice thing, too, humidity is way down, so we got some of that clean, fresh
Spring air.
Yeah, it really does feel like spring now, all of a sudden. And, of course, what happens down here, the roads start to thin out. Everything eases down a little bit, and you get into that southern country feeling. But, kind of laid back, and it just feels kind of nice. And summer is coming, so.
Yeah, because we have our tourists in the winter, and it makes it kind of tough getting around.
Yeah, and plus there's school going on, so the kids are not only have to deal with all the beach traffic, you have to deal with the tourism, and then you have to deal with the people going to school, and everybody's going to work. Now it's slowing down, and a few slobs have to still go to work, but the rest of us we're just having fun, right? So, I want to hit on a couple of subjects. One of our listeners, Joey, and in fact, Joey goes to Gracie Baja and Clearwater, and we correspond quite often. He says, you talked about too much exercise is not good, like running marathons and such. Where does jiu-jitsu fall into this? Because I know some guys who train twice a day and all the time. I guess even with jiu-jitsu, you can wear out the body, so maybe once a day just makes me think. And it really depends, of course, on your age and your own conditioning and, what you're capable of doing. There's a certain point where you do hit that threshold of doing too much.
Made me think a little bit about our guest last week, Tony.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, are you moving from an anabolic state to a catabolic state? And with a lot of marathon running, and I think we've discussed this on the show, but I like the visual of it. If you Google a sprinter versus a marathon runner, you'll see a big difference in the body. And I personally feel the sprinter has a more attractive body. Yeah. They're maintaining their muscle mass. They're not, cannibalizing it for energy. The marathon runner, I call them, sometimes they look, and, sometimes they look like skinny fat people. You know what a skinny fat person is?
Yeah, no doubt about it, yeah.
It's a person who looks skinny, but when you touch them, everything jiggles.
That too, and also they look frail, a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Believe me, I was a runner for a long time, and I did long runs for many years. But one thing I did find out when I ran a marathon was that at about 18 or 20 miles, your body says that's enough. Yeah. And then it gets really hard, and that's, I guess, the attraction of the marathon.
And I'm not picky. I want to preface that because there's a lot of people that do that and they're doing well, but it just kind of indicates, again, you have to be your own best guide on what's right for you and the look you want, and when your body's sending signs that it's under stress from too much, you kind of get back. But the interval training that you get from sprint kind of sends a signal to the body to be prepared. You don't know yet when you're going to need your short twitch muscles, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that the way that we think about it? So,
your flight or fright.
Right. The stress. And Seeley.
Well, what I wrote him back, it says, depends on the individual, the age, condition, etc. Listen to your body and mind and take their clues. This will give, they will give you signals that reflect your stress, and then you can plan your rest and your recovery. And then that's the real thing about exercise and anything else that we do, whether it's your job. Mm-hmm. Or whether it's mental stress, is that you need the breaks. You need the recovery time. And part of that recovery time is feeding the body. And we talk a lot about food on this program. Mm-hmm. So it's the whole cycle of really listening and being in tune with your body. And as you get more experience, you'll find you're going to be a lot more in tune to what's going on with your body, so you'll know. And you just need to be aware enough to pay attention to those signals that your body gives. And that's the problem. Most people don't listen to the signals. They say, well, I feel great right now. Mm-hmm. Your depletion, you reach a certain point, and then it's gone completely in certain instances. So jiu-jitsu is not any different than anything else. The thing I think that's better about jiu-jitsu and a lot of sports like that is we have where we're learning techniques and then we have where we do actually rolling, which is the fighting part, but everybody there is friends, so the tension is never about aggression. With jiu-jitsu, it's always about companionship, watching out for the other guy. You know, you're drilling with people that you were drilling with for years, and you need them to learn the sport. So while you're doing techniques, you're being the dummy. The person's going through the technique. You have to let them do what they're supposed to do, and you have to do what you're supposed to do as the person that's on the other side. And it's a great sport.
But we appreciate it, Joey. You know, when you all send us our questions, you send them in through the chat room or you email them us, it makes it fun. It gives us some things to look at, and that's why we're doing this, to try and help everyone get good information on how to take care of themselves. Yeah, and it helps us to learn, too. And Mitch sent me something. He said, I stumbled across this eco show the past week. And, in fact, we'll get into that. It shows really the power of the pesticides on plants, and it gives you an indication what are good ones and which aren't the good ones. You know, maybe we should go there. Yeah, let's go right there right now. So in that article, it kind of talks about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. And if many of you probably already heard this, but it can really, really help you with knowing which foods need to be organic, and you need to be very cautious. You know, and you've got the list up. I'm just going to try and look for it, but I'll just look at yours. Yeah, well, the dirty dozen. The dirty dozen are the fruits and vegetables that are laden with very dangerous pesticides, known endocrine disruptors. Yep. And it's just much better if you go ahead and bite the bullet and make sure you buy them organic, because they'll be free of those pesticides. We'll go through the list, because I think if you have a piece of paper, you might want to write this down. I think it's a good idea. And one thing to remember, I was in the pest control business years ago. And you were? I didn't know that. Yeah, I was back in the 80s, early 80s. And one of the things we learned was that the newer pesticides have really great adhesion abilities. There's a kind of a glue that's almost in these things, so these things can permeate the skin of the products. So they're on there a long time. And they're very hard and difficult to get off. Okay, so we're going to put aside the fact that we all know that there are benefits, despite what Dr. Oz said, and that was a big faux pas for him, because he took a lot of slack for that, that there's no difference between organic fruit or vegetable. You can just taste one. Just go buy a conventional apple and buy an organic apple and tell me if you don't notice the difference. Yeah, the only difference is one has pesticides on it and the other doesn't. Well, otherwise, it's pretty simple. Well, no, not only that. Well, organic are usually grown in a healthier soil. Usually. And so, from that standpoint, but I'm going to hit one as an example, because we're in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, and we have a city called Plant City that is like the strawberry capital of the world. Yep. So we grow strawberries. But strawberries, and it's so sad, because for me, I love strawberries, but the Plant City strawberries that are conventionally raised they use over 500 chemicals. Wow. For the pesticide for the strawberries. And so... And also the plant allows absorption more than like the other berries, because the other berries have a thicker skin. Yeah, and that's exactly true. So let's go through this list. Here's the dirty dozen. The dirty dozen. It's a service mark thing, too. You can probably Google it if you're at the grocery store, you know. Yeah. Well, apples is the first one. Second is celery. And cherry tomatoes. Oh, boy. Cucumbers. Grapes. Hot peppers. Nectarines, the imported nectarines, peaches, potatoes, spinach, and strawberries. And then they have a couple of bonus sweet bell peppers, and kale and collard greens. I love kale, and summer squash. Yeah, so those are the things. Just really look for them in season. Look for them at your farmers markets if they're organic, and try and stay away from it, because there are dangerous pesticides that disrupt your immune system. They end up getting stuck in your fat cells. You stay, like we learned last week from Tony, that it gets stuck in the fat cells because the liver just cannot process these dangerous pesticides. Right. But there's good news. We have the clean 15. We have asparagus, avocados, cabbage, cantaloupe. You know, you got the thick shell and the cantaloupe, so you can kind of... And sweet corn. Now, but remember with sweet corn... Is a little different than... Well, okay, so it's in the clean 15, but then we know that it is also on another list of one of the most heavily genetically modified products, the corn.
But I'm not sure sweet corn is in that same category. I think sweet corn is grown separately, and you can find non-GMO sweet corn.
Oh, no, you can. That's what I'm saying. So in addition to it being on the list, that it's safe from pesticides on the Clean 15 list, make sure that you buy the non-GMO. And like, for example, if I go to my store, there's Farmer's Market corn. I don't know that that's not GMO, so I don't buy that. I buy the one that says Noah's organic corn.
Yeah.
Okay, so they both look the same, and we know that we're not having a lot of pesticide risk, but then we're trying to look at the GMO risk.
Yeah. So and we have eggplant, grapefruit, kiwis, mangoes, mushrooms, onions, papayas.
Another
pineapples.
Food that's often genetically modified, though, papaya.
Yeah, sweet peas, frozen, and sweet potatoes. Let me go over the Dirty Dozen just one more time because we're going a little fast on that. So apples, celery, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, grapes, hot peppers, nectarines, the imported kind, peaches, potatoes, spinach, strawberries, sweet bell peppers, kale, and collard greens also, and then summer squash are the last. If you didn't get them, you can email Nico or Paige at TFNN, and we'll get it off to you. And
no, I'm pretty sure that's, you can always just Google it. You're at the grocery store and you think you forget, you're in the produce section, just pull it up on your smartphone, put in Clean 15 or Dirty Dozen. Yeah. And, of course, you can call us at 877-927-6648 if you'd like to join the program. We also have an international number, 727-445-1044. And, we have a new newsletter as of last week out right now. We're going to talk a little bit about what's in there. I want to go over the Health Signals newsletter. If you're not subscribing, I really think you should. There's just a wealth of information. If you spent the time trying to go out there and find this information on your own, it would take you forever. You do a great job on it. Oh, thank you. And then the easy links to great videos and movie clips and further information. So we hope you're going to grab it. And I want to go over it. I mean, I know it's great for people to subscribe to it. Whether you do or not, we want to highlight some of the things because we think it's important information. Yep. And he also asked, did you or Paige read Tony Hill's Fat book? That's the Kick Your Fat in the Nut book. Not butt, like you said. Not butt. I think that's a better name, though. I do, too. Because not everybody has a nut. That's right. Everybody has a butt. So, Mitch, we both have ordered the book. I read excerpts of it. Yeah, me too. Yeah, quite a few. And one thing I found, it was simplistic. It was real easy for a layperson to follow. So we'll both follow up with our opinions of the book, but I can tell you that from what I know, his approach is very similar to what both of us do. Yeah, yeah. And that's why we had him on there. And he really does give you some help if you have problem, with either protein or fat digestion. Let's put it that way. So if your digestion is screwed up, like many Americans, then I think it will help you. Anyway, pick up the Health Signals newsletter. Exactly. So we'll go over those things, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, folks. So don't forget, 877-927-6648, and we'll be back in a minute.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. McEwen Mining is a high-growth, mid-tier producer in the Americas with a market capitalization of $1 billion. Experienced mining executive Rob McEwen, as chairman, CEO, and president, owns 25% of the outstanding shares of McEwen Mining and has put in place an ambitious business plan with the goal of qualifying for inclusion in the S&P 500 by 2015. With $70 million in cash and liquid assets as of the end of 2012 and completely debt-free, McEwen Mining is poised for growth. Production in 2013 is forecasted to grow at 24%, reaching 130,000 gold equivalent ounces, and over the next 3 years, McEwen Mining projects that their production will increase to 290,000 gold equivalent ounces, almost a threefold increase from last year's totals. If you'd like to find out more about McEwen Mining, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE or TSX under the symbol MUX.
Who says you can't take it with you? TFNN says you can. With your mobile device and TFNN's live radio streams, TFNN has put it all in the palm of your hands. No special apps to download. No subscription fees for live radio or Tiger TV streams. We say you can.
Now let's go over to the dollar, because the dollar is going to be the generator. It is the generator of basically higher dollar, lower market. And what the dollar has done, and this whole uptrend, folks, has just gone sideways. The way it works, folks, is this.
We say you can. The Tiger Financial News Network. Smart investors and professional traders know you can. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the program, folks. Nico and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle. And it's a beautiful Friday here in Clearwater, so we're glad you can join us. And if you want to give us a call, it's 877-927-6648. And you can talk to Paige and myself, and we'll answer your questions. Or we were talking about pesticides, and
while we're at it,
yes,
you know, one of the great articles you put in the Health Signals newsletter is the lethal Roundup weed killer, and that the damage extends beyond plants to humans, and it's probably the most toxic chemical on the face of this earth.
It really is, and it's used everywhere, and it's I mean, of course, now that's what GMO is all about, too.
Let me read this. A shocking new study finds that glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup herbicide, may be the most biologically disruptive chemical in our environment, capable of contributing to a wide range of fatal human diseases. Oh. And it's the world's most popular. It's designed to kill all but genetically modified Roundup-ready plants, such as GMO corn, soy, beet, cottonseed, and canola, obviously manufactured by the world's worst company, rated that way, Monsanto. I mean, it was rated the world's worst company. And I really want to let you know, there's a great article in here authored by Stephanie Seneff. She is a fabulous PhD researcher. Comes to mind in a particular interview she did with Dr. Mercola on the really importance of sulfurization that we get when we get in the sun. So I just want you to know, anything she does, pay attention. Oh, cool. So they need to go and read this article, and then you may want to link and see some more of her work. Gives you, in the article, it gives you 30 distinct adverse health effects, but Nico's got a link in there. So, you know, you want to get the newsletter so you can see this important information we're giving you.
Yeah, in the newsletter, too, on the very first page really talks about factory farms, which is another side of the coin, not dealing with pesticides so much, but dealing with the sickness of the animals and how they're being raised and how this is really causing not only bad animals, but really bad for the environment.
And there's a link to the movie, A River of Waste movie.
Yeah,
so
great movie, and you need to see it because you need to know how these animals are being raised so you can make a decision whether you're going to eat that stuff or not. Because there's a huge difference. I was listening to a podcast this week, and it was a video podcast, and one of the things that was on one of the slides is the difference between, at a butcher, between the two types of meat.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, you can really visibly
see it.
And then if you do analysis of the carcasses and the meat, then you find there's a lot of differences in the pH balance of the animal, in the omega-3, omega-6 ratio, how much saturated fat it has, and whether the fat is toxic or not. Because remember, as human beings, we store fat.
We store toxins
in our fat. So now if the animals are artificially getting fat, you better believe the toxins are going in there, and in those factory farms, the whole place is a toxin.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have to just make a comment, you know, when you look at that picture of the factory farm cows, it reminds me further, and most of you already know I'm very passionate about the dangers of fluoridation, but if you go back to what happened with the phosphate industry and how it came about, the cows surrounding the phosphate industry were getting arthritis and crippling diseases. They weren't able to walk. They were down on their knees from the damage from the waste products of the fluoride, of the aluminum. of the aluminum and the phosphate industries.
Yeah.
You know, the fluoride. And so I look at that picture and I'm just thinking about what these animals go through, and you know, we have to stop.
Angie in the chant room was asking any recommendations for a fertilizer to use on plants, like for trees and things like that.
That's great, Angie, because, you know, they're out of balance anyways. The traditional fertilizers that we have are 3 minerals. And if you Google it, you can find out. I work with an organic gardener here locally, and she grows these wonderful vegetables, teaches people how to grow their own food.
I'm sure in Colorado, too. I think Angie's from Colorado.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
You'll find...
the minerals.
Yeah.
It's this rare earth minerals you can add, and then it'll really help, and the bugs and pests will stay away. Yeah. You know, when you think
and if you have any problems finding any sources, Angie, just shoot us an email, and I'll do some digging for you.
Yeah, and I know that they come from the seabed, I think, out in Utah, actually.
Okay.
That's where they get them.
It's closer than we are, for sure.
But, hey, that's another thing. You know, you're talking about fertilizers and plants and everything, and people talk about gardening and having pests and the plants and their vegetables getting bug-ridden. When they get the proper minerals, they don't attract the pests.
Well, not
the
only
pests
that,
are there to...
You have certain plants that are cohesive with each other,
right,
that actually help you do pest control.
And they send out pheromones to keep...
And also with fertilizers, there's certain trees that you can plant near things, so you get some natural fertilization going too. So there's a lot of different ways, and we're learning more and more about that for sure. So 877-927-6648 is the phone number to reach Paige and Nico on Living a Primal Lifestyle. So please do that, and we'll be back in a couple minutes, folks.
You've heard Nico De Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Recently, Basil Chapman has had some outstanding trades in his newsletter, The Opening Call. Each morning by 9 a.m., Basil uploads his newsletter to the TFNN servers so that his subscribers can access his expert trading advice. Basil gives his take on the direction of key indices and updates any active trades that his subscribers are currently in. Just recently, Basil's subscribers closed out a short position in Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG, for more than an $86 profit per share, over a 20% gain in just one position. If you'd like to try out Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, then visit the front page at TFNN.com and click Trading Newsletters. There you'll find Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, where you can request a free sample copy. Also, don't miss Basil's program, The Tiger Technicians Hour, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, on TFNN.
Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives you Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. With Market Insights, nothing is left to guessing. With the market at record levels, volatility is here, and now is a perfect time to take advantage of a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights. As recently as March 26th, Tom advised his subscribers to liquidate their 4 short-term equity holdings, closing out all 4 positions for a combined 15.9% profit. And on April 1st, Tom advised his clients to sell their longer-term position in AIG warrants, locking in more than a 40% profit in just that one trade. If you'd like to see the kind of newsletter Tom O'Brien sends out to his subscribers each morning, then sign up for your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And Paige here, and the number is 877-927-6648. So we were talking about the...
Coming over to the Health Signals newsletter.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want to talk about that longevities article.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's called the longevity nutrient and how to get more of it. Mm-hmm. And it really targets some of the chemical processes that go on in our body, things like oxidation,
glycation, which is sugar and protein cross-linking.
Yeah. Women,
you can think wrinkles.
And dysfunction of your mitochondria.
Telomere shortening. And, I think that's something we should talk about is the telomere
and also
lengthening.
the metals in your body, the level of the
heavy metal toxicity.
Metals. Yeah.
But it talks a little bit about the nutrient that kind of stimulates and protects you from these processes that are dangerous and enhances the ones that are good. And it's carnosine. And guess where you get carnosine? Carnivore. Meats.
Seems the answer to our prayers is meat. I like it.
And so you can combat the primary processes of aging with carnosine, made from just 2 amino acids, beta-alanine and histidine. Carnosine is found in high concentrations in the brain, muscles, and heart. So,
sounds important to me.
Yeah, so if you're into longevity and anti-aging, we've got a great article with good links.
Yeah, and then the next page, page 3, is Tony Hale's page, and we had him on last week. Great interview and a great guy. The next one is an article about the red meat scapegoat, which is talks about really keratin and everything, but it's how meat has been vilified in the media for years and years, and that's why there's so many vegetarians around. I'm not sure, but and the next subject is a subject I'm very fond of, which is sleep, and is why cold sleep is good for you. And of course, I think I heard that the best temperature for sleeping is around 67, 68 degrees. Some people even say 66. Some people like it up in around 70.
I really like it to be cold and have the down comforters, and then you can like peel them off in layers if you start to get hot.
Yeah, I want to climb in bed with the goosebumps and get all warm in there. So that's the name of the game for me. But I do sleep better, and this article will tell you exactly why. Then we have some, a lot of people like to eat starches still, even though I don't eat much of them. Probably a better way to go than a lot of your vegetables out there, especially when you look at that list of
the question is, should you eat some,
maybe some
starches instead of a toxic-laden pesticide?
Yeah, and it really depends on, all these things, how much you actually eat. And so starches, we know, can induce insulin spikes. So you maybe want to be very careful. But I found that myself, if I eat protein first, and if I want to add a little starch to it, or want to have a drink, which kind of acts the same way, that I'll be in pretty good shape.
Right. So that's the risk with starches, is that they do tend to increase the insulin response, and that article gives you some great tips on how you can safely handle it.
Yeah. And it's a pretty extensive article, and there are some interesting things about what they consider starches too. That's
interesting. Chestnuts. It talks about chestnut, which is a nut, but we think of that as kind of a fat. I wouldn't have thought of that as a starch.
Yeah, and it actually is a starch, and many nuts do have a starchy component to them. So that's where the fat is also. So you have the fat and the starch, and you can see why it might be giving people problems if they overeat in it. Because then you've got the insulin boost with the starch,
right,
and the fat to go along and hide into those fat cells.
I would sort of think maybe, in a way, though, that might be good to keep it from not causing the blood sugar to go too high.
Well, that's true, yeah. So that's a good point. And then we have an article on Monsanto and how we have now a...
Roy Blunt is Monsanto's man in Washington.
Yeah, so he was on the board before, I guess it was. Anyway, insiders.
And this also gives you, there's a link there where you can boycott products that are, Monsanto's products. And, again, we vote with our wallets every day. Yeah.
And there's also a link to a do not buy list
of Monsanto's companies.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they own everybody.
I just want to see that.
Yeah.
Because that's the nice thing. You can just click the links and go see it. But, if
links come faster than others.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get to the point, do not buy. Monsanto companies, do not buy. This is amazing. Aunt Jemima. Well, who would buy Aunt Jemima corn syrup?
Everybody.
Maple syrup. It's not even maple syrup. There's none in it. Aurora Foods, Banquet, Best Foods, Betty Crocker, Bisquick, Cadbury, Campbell's, Capri Sun,
Carnation,
Kraft, Philip Morris, Kool-Aid, Knorr's. Oh my gosh.
Lean Cuisine, Lipton.
Oh gosh.
Mary Calendar, Nature
Another
Valley,
list you need to have
Ocean
a quick
Spray,
reference.
Pepperidge Farms, Pillsbury.
Even the ones that sound natural. Nature Valley.
Yeah, and Procter & Gamble. Tombstone Pizza. And that says it all right there. Get the Tombstone on the label with the Monsanto, and you got a pretty good thing going there, I think. Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Okay, so then...
Again, this is all about information, because the information is going to empower you. And when it comes down to it, it's like clients that come to see me. I say, the doctors aren't going to get you well. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be Joe. It's not going to be Nico. It's you. Yeah. With the information you get and how you use it.
Yeah. Study finds that a protein-rich breakfast prevents unhealthy snacking in the evening.
I believe that.
Of course. It makes sense, because what you're doing is you're satisfying yourself with some really good protein and fat that's going to keep you satiated, not sedated, but satiated all day long.
Right.
And I find if I eat a breakfast, and I eat a good breakfast like I normally do, I will not be hungry till 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I'll be slightly hungry. So I'll have a little snack, and then by the time 6 o'clock or 6:30 rolls around, I have a small meal, and I'm good to go for the whole day.
So the eggs have been vindicated, guys. Start your day with that excellent, perfect protein. your healthy cheese. I like to tell people buy Gouda cheese. Put your Gouda cheese in your eggs. You're getting about you're getting a perfect serving of K2, which is a nice balance for keeping the calcium out of your arteries and in your bones. Calcium builds strong bones.
Yep.
It's all good. And
yeah, and the misconception is that you need to have dairy products to get your calcium. When we know, where do you think the cows and the elephants and all those big animals with those strong bones to hold all their mass get their calcium? They get it from the green things.
They get it from the greens. That's why we eat we get a lot of our best nutrients from animals by eating the animals and their byproducts. Now,
all that goodness that's in the plants that is in the animal goes to us.
Okay, I want to tell you a story because you know how we feel about dairy. Okay. Again, it's not about calcium, guys. We need such a small amount. Most of the calciums and supplements, I never recommend calcium supplements because they're rock and they're fake calciums. We can go into that in more detail, but I want to tell you a little story because you guys know I have raw, I buy raw milk, and I have an extra refrigerator.
Pet food.
Yeah, my pet food. and I have this extra refrigerator. Well, there must have been a circuit or something that broke, and I had extra gallons in there because, see, raw milk lasts for weeks. And I put it in there, and the refrigerator was turned off. Well, I have now, just for a test, I wanted to prove to my son. I had some conventional milk, and I had raw milk, and so I put the conventional milk out on the counter. I set the raw milk out for 3 days. To be honest with you, I use it like in a body scrub. Because it's enzymes, lactic acid, it's good for your skin, so I kind of made a sugar, coffee, raw milk scrub. But I let him smell the difference in how a pasteurized milk smells after it's sat out for 3 days. And then this raw milk, I don't even know how many days my refrigerator is broken in the garage. It's because it was warm. And to this day, it's still sitting on the counter, and it's a soured milk. Now, I wouldn't particularly like the taste of it at this point, but it's not. I put it out in 2 bowls for my cats. I wanted to see if my cats would eat it. And they both have been drinking it since I put it out last night.
Yeah, cats love milk.
Well, they've got the enzymes in there.
Yeah, yeah. They know what's good for them.
Anyways.
and on page 15, I've got this whole charts and thing about the risk from global cooling instead of global warming. It's an interesting thing. It was given to me by somebody in the Electric Universe, and that sent me information on this stuff.
That our U.S. breadbasket, or our crops that support the feeding of the United States, is at risk because of global cooling. That's what this article says.
Yeah. Because of the extreme weather that we're having, and this trend seems to be going to continue for at least 15 years. That's going to really impact those single crop farmers.
Oh, yeah. And they're encouraged to do that, too. But, single crop is not the best thing for the soil, by the way.
It's the worst thing because it destroys the habitats.
It destroys the habitats, and the soil becomes deficient in certain minerals. And then
you use those pesticides and the fertilizers, artificial stuff, to go on it, which deteriorates stuff even more. And
traditional farmers knew to rotate and give soil rest. And if you want to understand someone who's applying traditional farming, Joel Salatin out of Virginia, which we talked about. I told you.
In fact, there's a link on the first page.
He might be my cousin. Because he's like...
Would be a great cousin to have.
I know, like 20 minutes away from where all my family's from.
Wow.
In Virginia.
Probably is a cousin then.
Yeah, could be. I didn't say West Virginia.
So we have some great primal recipes, and this is one of my favorites, barbecued spare ribs with cabbage salad. That's what I call a perfect meal. And chocolate, bacon, almond, butter, bananas.
You know what we should do?
We should take
all these recipes from the newsletter and make our own primal cookbook. What do you guys think?
Well,
instead of having to,
they're not like they're my recipes. I've pulled these off the web and from every which
we can give credit to the original person.
Yeah, well, then I have to find them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sounds like a lot of work to me, folks. And then we have the Primal Lifestyle exercises, and, what really are primal exercises? And we're getting down to the really primal movements like squatting and bending and lunging and pushing and pulling.
Okay, I have a question about the squatting exercise.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the instructions, but I try and do 100 squats on a Bosu ball.
Oh, that is much more difficult.
It's very difficult. Yeah. However, I've been squatting, and I feel like I should squat all the way down. I don't have any knee sensitivity, and I had a guy come up to me and say, I think you're doing your squats too deep. But
well,
why
you're
shouldn't I
using
squat
body
like
weight, right?
No, I don't have any weights in my hand.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the difference.
So if I was carrying 10 pounds...
Yeah, especially if you're carrying them on your shoulders.
Okay, like squatting like this. Then you want to keep the 90-degree
angle. Well, not only that,
angle.
because you're having a different alignment in the hips and everything, and you've got unnatural weight on you. That's a whole different ballgame. I would recommend using things like a Smith machine, which are guided.
So if you're doing the weights, really observe that squatting 90-degree angle with the knees and the feet.
Yeah.
But when you're doing your own body weight, I mean, think about squatting in the woods to go to the bathroom. I mean, you were. I mean, I'm talking about the primal people.
Of course.
You know, these are what we're doing. Primal moves. They were squatters. I mean, they did squat. I mean, and that's why they had the leg strength. So when you're not using weights, then I'm okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the whole difference. And I'm sure if you're training for something that you need to put weight and go all the way down, you better stop, go gradually.
But I kind of like not adding the weight with this because I really want it to be my own body weight and movement. I want it to be like a primal movement.
Yeah. You're better
Are you kind of impressed with me that I can do 100 of those?
Yeah, very impressed. I like to watch you do it. Okay, and there's pulling and twisting and running and other types of what they call gait exercises. Mm-hmm. So that was it. And the last page is picture of us and me getting posing with the new black belts.
So subscribe to our newsletter, folks. We're also working sometime, hopefully this summer, we're going to have a resource page.
Yep.
Because we're constantly getting questions about where do we get this and where do we get that. And we're excited about that. So we hope you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, there's lots of things coming. I'm still working on my book, and it's coming along good. So I'll keep working on that, and I'll let you know how that progresses when it goes to the publisher to get final.
So let's talk about some of the other articles you and I have been batting back and forth this week.
Well, one of the things I want to talk about, I ran across another article on oil pulling.
Okay, yeah, and I think we've talked a lot about that. I think you know that we both really support oil pulling, and there's an article that we were reviewing that talks about, it's actually an ancient Ayurvedic Indian folk remedy. It's first mentioned in ancient texts over 1,500 years ago. And there's all kinds of benefits about oil pulling.
Yeah,
and that Nico does it, I do it.
Yeah, modern scientific inquiry increasingly confirms oil pulling's benefit to oral health, proven to be as effective as the chemical hexadine.
Oral B mouthwash.
Yeah, for chronic bad breath, halitosis, but without the side effects. Mm-hmm. It's proven to be beneficial in patients with gingivitis and can result in whiter teeth and pinker gums. Mm-hmm. Proven to reduce cavity-linked streptococcus, mutation bacteria in plaque and saliva of children, and proven to exert antibacterial actions through emulsification and saponification, or whatever that is.
So what we're talking about here, and it's true, if you oil pull before you go to bed, you can roll over and kiss your other person, the next morning you're going to have a nice breath.
As long as you're married or in a serious relationship with them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, yeah, exactly. And there's the huge connection between the bacteria in our mouth and our gum health and heart disease. I'm sure you all know that. And so what we're really doing is getting some protection from serious arterial
and because your mouth is really a conduit for blood, that it really does help you detoxify. Because there's so many sensors in there.
Your teeth feel great after you do it, too.
Everything
so your coconut oil, yet another use for...
Yeah, I use sesame oil, so that's good, too.
Well, that's true. Coconut and sesame oil. Yeah. Sesame is the traditional one, but coconut oil is great, too.
Okay, we'll be back in a couple minutes, folks. 877-927-6648.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pezzamento, Victor Jones, or Daryl Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pezzavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Miracles from molecules around us everywhere. There are miracles from molecules in the earth, the sea, the air. Now men with dreams are furthering.
All right, that was some Monsanto music. It was called Miracles of Molecules.
Yeah. So, courtesy of Al,
yes,
here at TFNN Studios, prior to the days that before Monsanto became what I call the bad guy.
Yeah, that was some nice music, like Disney type of music.
Yeah, from their show, I guess maybe at the Disney.
It's kind of like Babes in Toyland. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, one of the
Thanks,
interesting
Al.
things, I was listening to a podcast this last weekend, and one of the subjects was how people were eating naturally, and this woman brought out a cookbook from like the 1850s that her great-grandmother was using. And so she read a few of the recipes of not only the typical meals that they were having, but also some of the desserts and things. And it was very interesting because virtually very few vegetables or fruits. Mostly everything, of course, was around the meats and the eggs and things like that.
And how interesting
lots of fats they were using. They were using butter and lard. Mm-hmm. And in the desserts, one of the things that they had was the butter cake that my mother used to make in Holland. And of course, when we lived in Canada too, and it was in that you use a pound of butter.
So this is very interesting too, if you think about this, because in the newsletter there's a link to pre-1800 cookbooks and articles. Very interesting. If you get the newsletter, you can actually download these. But you know, the cardiology event that happened in this country happened in the early part of the 1900s, and someone invented the one of the heart diagnostic. I'm drawing a blank here. One of the heart diagnostic machines, and at Harvard they told him, look, you really should come up with something that has more of a market. I mean, there's no heart issues in this country. And then look what happened. We introduced seed oils, we introduced processed foods, and that's virtually changed.
And if you really look at the timeline of how that happened, you see it happened really gradually over the last 200 years, and really escalating as it went along, kind of like a wheel gathering moss. So now we come to the 1990s and 2000 and 2010. Here we are, 2013. It's really snowballed. We're getting more awareness now of it, but in the mainstream, it's the average grocery store is a very unhealthy place to get your food.
Right, and it's pushing the diet plan. We were watching a video this morning of nutritionist Johnny Bowden talking about how what the mainstream pushes as the healthy diet is not healthy. In fact, it is implicated in creating this epidemic of heart disease, diabetes, cancer,
inflammatory diseases.
Inflammatory diseases.
Yes.
So, maybe we need to download these books. And it's kind of funny, too, it actually has a link because many of the terms they use in this are archaic cooking terms that we may not know about.
Yeah,
it has a glossary of medieval and Renaissance culinary terms. So I think that's kind of interesting. I think I'm going to show this to my daughter. She will love stuff.
I will link this into the next health signals. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't in the health signals
no,
for some reason.
But it will be in the next one because I found it very fascinating. And you go through some of these recipes and you can see that they're pretty balanced. There's nothing crazy about most of them. As you get into the 1900s, then you start seeing much more sugar involved in it.
And that's
much
when
more
Weston
flour.
Price started to say, "What's happening to the teeth?"
Yeah, it's amazing too that dentists really don't get much education on Weston Price. Did you know that?
Oh no, they're steered away from him.
Yeah.
And he's the one that identified the root canal issue. Oh, wait, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I know. I got another hour, but it'll have to wait till next week, folks. So, and we'll have a new issue of Health Signals coming up next week. Please pick up this one because it's a lot of stuff that you need to know about. So, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Have a great one.
Be good.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.